in double figures, going back to last Sunday's win against Coastal Carolina on the road where they scored 15. Scored 11 in a win at Tulane on Tuesday night. Scored 12 in game one of the weekend series against Arkansas State, and 17 in the Sunday finale in which they swept Arkansas State. Scott Berry joins us right now on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team at Mississippi Farm Bureau. Coach, I know 5 games in a week is a lot, and you probably, if you could choose to play 4 in a week or 5 in a week, I'm assuming you would choose 4, but going 5-0 over the course of 5 games between Tuesday and Sunday, that's not too bad.
No, real proud of our guys, Richard, honestly. I mean, and if you look at it even a little bit further back, we've played 8 games in 10 days. So, that stretch goes back even a little further. And those, when you start taking all that other part in, that was on the road, getting in late last Sunday at 2 in the morning back to the clubhouse to turn around to have to go to New Orleans and play on Tuesday. So it was a grind, but our guys, hey, they hung in there and have been playing really good baseball. So real proud of them.
So let's start with the midweek. You had to go to New Orleans, and that was the quick turnaround that you were talking about just a second ago. After getting in late Sunday, early Monday, you turn around and go to New Orleans to face Tulane. You beat them 11-10, and then you come back home and you get a win against a pretty decent Louisiana Tech team, 6-5 on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and both of those games, we had to win them late, in all honesty. I mean, the Tulane game, we were up 8-2. We put up an 8 spot there, and I don't know what inning it was. It was early in the game, like the 3rd inning, and then, all of a sudden, Tulane starts coming back, and we're down 10-8, and we're going to the top of the 9th, down 3 runs, or down 2 runs, and we hit them for 3 and get out of there with an 11-10 victory. So, was real proud of that, but then had to turn around, like you said, played La Tech on Wednesday at home, who had beaten us in the previous week on Tuesday in a low-scoring game. And we were kind of cruising along, sitting there, and then all of a sudden, they blow the yard for a 3-run home run to make it 6-5. So things got real interesting, but our bullpen, they're late in the game on the back end. We're able to take care of business. And, we get out of there with a 6-5 win before we opened up another conference series against Arkansas State.
Scott, did you notice anything different Tuesday and Wednesday? And I asked that because you told us when we talked last Monday that your team had not played very well in midweek games really throughout the course of the season. Was there a greater level of focus? Is there some belief that's starting to kind of creep in, especially to the offense? What was it?
Well, I think there is some belief in the offense, and I think it started on Sunday against Coastal Carolina after getting beat that Friday and Saturday and losing the series and knowing the sense of urgency of having to win at least that one game and not being swept. I mean, I knew it was going to be devastating. We talked about it a week ago if that happened, and we had to do everything we could. And for whatever reason, scoring that 15 runs and beating a very good Coastal Carolina team on the road in a must-win situation that we felt like really kind of gave us some momentum going into that Tuesday and Wednesday game. And like we've said before, we were 3-5 in midweek games, so we had a chance to this week last week even that up at 500, and tomorrow night against Tulane we have a chance to finish above 500, one game above 500 in our midweek. So, but I think I think that momentum from Sunday is what kind of gave us some confidence there on the offensive side, and it's just continued to go on as we play.
Coach, when you look at the course of a season, we all talk about you want to be playing your best baseball at the right time, and we're only a few weeks away from conference tournament and then into the NCAA tournament. Do you feel like your team is starting to peak?
Well, I think when you look at the offense and the pitching, everything coming together as one, I think we're playing our best baseball now. I think when you look back in the first 4 weeks, 3 of those 4 opponents, we did what we were supposed to do. We won the series. Illinois was the only series that we did not win. We swept Dallas Baptist, who has been playing phenomenal. I mean, they're really good. And we took care of business with them. But, you say you want to be playing your best baseball there at the end. You're right, but you have to be playing good baseball before that to even give yourself a chance. If you haven't taken care of business along the way, you may have buried yourself, even though you do play your best baseball. So I feel like that, given everything that that we've played pretty good this year, not like certainly we want to, but right now over these course of these 6 games, we found ways to win in a number of ways, coming from behind, holding on to leads, run ruling somebody yesterday. So, I feel like we're playing pretty confident and probably the best that we played.
So, Scott, last Monday we talked about Tanner Hall having a stat line that is not what we're used to seeing. It looked like he looked like his normal self on Friday night. 7 innings, 15 strikeouts, only 2 walks. He gives up just 1 run and 3 hits. That's what we're accustomed to seeing, right?
It is. I'll tell you, that first inning, he was really dominant. The leadoff guy got a good swing off on him and lined out to center field. But the next two batters, he struck out, and he was out there in 11 pitches, which is normal for Tanner. And the ball really had sink, had action. But then, we revisited a little bit of what's kind of haunted him this year in the second inning. He goes out and he walks the first 2 guys on 8 straight pitches, and you're going, holy cow, how could you have had the inning you just had and walk the first 2 guys on 8 pitches? But you know what? Good ones have a way of making those adjustments of what they need to do. And from that point on, it went strikeout, fly out to first base, and inning over. So, and that was the only 2 walks in the game, and then he proceeded with another 11 strikeouts over the next 5 innings.
I mean, it's incredible, right? I mean, you go back-to-back walks and then none the rest of the way. And then another guy. I mean, Billy Oldham, you didn't expect him to be in the role that he's in, or at least I don't think you did when we were beginning this season, and he goes out and gives you 7 innings on Saturday.
He had a rough outing last week as well at Coastal, but, he's pitched really well. He reminds me of Hunter Riggins, our Saturday guy last year, who was a graduate transfer into our program from Delta State. He just has that pitchability. He's got a 3-pitch mix. He commands his zone. He can plus and minus. At Coastal, he just didn't show up with stuff, and they're a very good offensive team, and he just didn't have the stuff to beat them, in all honesty. But every other outing, in all honesty, outside of a UNO on the road trip, he's had really good stuff, and he did against Arkansas State. Tommy Raffle was very complimentary of him and how he could really plus and minus and really just settle in there and pitch, and that's what he did, going 7 innings, only giving up 4 hits, and he gave up 1 run and 1 earned, but 7 strikeouts over 2 walks. So, the key to that series last weekend, Richard, was we used 4 pitchers in the first 2 games. So we had all our bullets ready to go for Sunday.
So I'm thinking about Slade Wilkes and kind of his career progression. I mean, the numbers this year speak for themselves, and it's not just the home runs. I mean, he's got the 17 home runs, but there's 11 doubles there as well. I'm kind of thinking from 2 years ago where he played, in 30 games and he hit like 150. And then he takes a step forward a year ago and just a monster step forward this season. What has allowed him to grow the way that he's grown?
I think it's just experience and at-bats and time in the box against live pitching and trial and error, failure and success. I think it's the adjustment of the game and just being able to get caught up to the speed of the game. He played at an academy, and obviously they didn't see Division I pitching like he saw his freshman year and sophomore year, but Slade has really developed himself nicely. I tell you one thing that's helped his swing more than anything, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but he had labrum surgery this past at the end of summer. And so in his rehab, he had to come back and his swing, when he did swing off the tee, when he wasn't, just short tossing, working that, but he's also, his plus tool is his bat. And so to go back swinging off the tee, working himself back in it, he had to start at like 25%. And so it just kept him under control and didn't allow him to get big. And it almost retrained his swing to where it now became a more flat path swing than some of that launch angle stuff that we read and we see. And he had it. And but now, boy, I'll tell you what, that barrel stays in the zone long. And when it connects, he hits the ball as hard as anybody that I've ever had. I mean, he absolutely hits it as hard as anybody.
Scott, only about 30 seconds left. South Alabama coming in this weekend, obviously midweek first, but that has been a series of midweek games in the years past. Now it's a conference series, and you know what you're getting into with them.
Oh, yeah, good program, great tradition there at South Alabama. I think they're 21-21 right now in the year, but don't be fooled by that. They've won their last 5 conference series and did it again this past weekend against Troy. So, I think they're a different team on the weekend than they are middle of the week, obviously. But they always give us their best, and hopefully we'll give them our best as well.
Should be a great atmosphere at the Pete this weekend, Coach. Always appreciate.